The heavens are telling the glory of God. Great. Great is God's faithfulness. I pray that you hold this spirit of joy, this spirit of fulfillment in your hearts all your days. Let us come into a thanksgiving of prayer. Source of all knowledge and truth, we come to celebrate the accomplishments and graduation of the class of 2000 from Buena Vista University. As angels soar in spirits with joy to rise to meet you, we carry our thanks deep in our bosom for the spirit and presence of each life that truly celebrates in your grace. We give you thanks for the loving and affirming parents, faculty, staff, mentors, family, and friends who have helped nurture these fine individuals to this point in life's journey. We thank you for the many gifts you have given them and how you have added to their blessings. May they use each gift of knowledge acquired and share those gifts they have been blessed with to serve and honor you. As each one embarks on a new path of discovery, may your continuing and comforting presence be with them. In times of fear, may you bring courage. In times of doubt, may you bring hope. In times of weariness, may you bring strength. In times of struggle, may you bring peace. In times of discernment, may you bring your wisdom. In all things, may each one of your children seek to follow your way in word, truth, and faith. We thank you for the leaders and speakers of this day, and may they know your strength and confidence to bring hope and glory. In the name of Jesus Christ, who is your word, wisdom made flesh, we join in prayer and thanksgiving for your love. Amen and amen. You may be seated.
On behalf of the Board of Trustees, faculty, staff, administration, and the class of 2000, I welcome parents, families, and our friends to this commencement ceremony of Buena Vista University. We especially welcome our honorary degree recipient, Roberta Green Ahmanson, and look forward to her commencement address. To the graduates, you have passed through an arch which symbolizes your entry into a world that needs your good ideas, your hard work, and your leadership. With the education that you have received and will continue to receive throughout life, you are prepared for new challenges and new adventures. You have our very best wishes for a life filled with health, happiness, success, and service. Our commencement speaker today is Roberta Green Ahmanson, an Iowa native who has become a generous contributor to education, social, religious development around the world. Roberta Green Ahmanson is genuine small-town Iowan, born and raised in Perry, Iowa. After graduation from Perry High School, she went on to receive her BA from Calvin College in Michigan. She then earned a master's degree in English from the University of Michigan and began what she thought would be a career in teaching with her first job in Canada. As a writer in the 1970s, Miss Ahmanson was published by several prominent newspapers. In the early 1980s, she became the religious editor for the San Bernardino Sun and moved to the Orange County Register in 1983. Winning several national awards for her reporting, a strong supporter of religious and women's issues, she has often been called upon to speak on public policy and spiritual issues. Today, Ms. Ahmanson works with her husband Howard as Vice President of Fieldstead and Company, a private foundation founded by her husband. The Ahmansons' philanthropic work over time has become instrumental in several initiatives, helping fight poverty and hunger in addition to assisting in education, religion, art, and culture. But they have also funded some highly unusual projects, including the incredible renovation and redevelopment of the old Hotel Pattee in her hometown of Perry. After a multi-million-dollar investment, the Pattee reopened in 1997 and now stands as the finest small hotel in the Midwest. Please join me in welcoming to Buena Vista University a woman who is certainly one of the most remarkable, most innovative Midwesterners of our era, a journalist, an educator, a social leader, and a builder whose personal motto is only the best. Now from Orange County, California, but forever an Iowan at heart, Roberta Green Ahmanson.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman Lamberti. That was a very kind introduction. I appreciate it. It's an honor for me to be here today and to greet each and every one of you, faculty and friends, alumni, parents, students, and most important, soon-to-be graduates. Although this is my first time on your campus, I do have several connections to your university. The first is my late husband. I am nervous. My late uncle's very best friend, Glenn Thuland, who I believe is in the auditorium today. He graduated from Buena Vista in the 1950s and went on to be a college coach and later the mayor of Perry. The second connection is more current in some ways. That is Mac Horniker, art professor, who came up and greeted me this morning, or this early afternoon. We're proud to have two of his sculptures in the lobby of the Hotel Pattee in Perry, as well as a sculpture garden on our west roof, which is my very favorite. I guess I can say this here. One of the sculptures in the lobby is called Up a Creek. It's a boat paddle turned around on itself, and I think we've all felt like that from one time to another. And there are 3 students from Perry at this university, and one of them, I understand, Terry D. Loris, will receive her master's degree today. So Perry's well represented at Buena Vista. Inscribed on the walls of the Hotel Pattee in Perry is a Chinese proverb. It says, "When you drink from the well, remember the well digger." We all stand on the shoulders of brave men and women who came before us, well diggers. Today I want to tell you the stories of 3 very different sets of well diggers whose lives meet in this moment, in this place. Had they never lived and made the choices they made, we would not be meeting here today. Yet their understanding of the world was different from ours. To understand our world, we need to understand theirs. Before I begin, though, I want to thank those who gathered much of the information I'm about to share. As those of you who've studied journalism know, you always have to have proper attribution. I want to thank Aaron Kaufman of hometown Perry, Iowa, Lynn Harlan, and others here at Buena Vista, my husband Howard, who gave me the information I'm going to share with you on the Mexican War, and my friend Pam Jenkins, who I'll mention later, who edited and re-edited this speech for me and asked me very tough questions. So, now, picture a large globe of the world. Shine a mental light on 5 places on that globe: Mexico City, the state of Texas, that's a big light on the state of Texas, then Geneva, Switzerland, then Scotland, and finally, Germany. Different places, different people, all meeting today in Storm Lake, Iowa. First, Mexico City, 1824. A new constitution gives greater autonomy to the various states. This is good news for Texas because as a result of that constitution, many Americans settle in the state. However, the Mexican government is unstable. In the next decade, many governments come and go until in 1834, General Santa Anna gains control and takes away the rights given to the states in 1824. Texans are not pleased. In 1836, while the defenders of the Alamo, Jim Bowie, Davy Crockett, William Travis, and others, are making their last stand, Texas declares itself an independent state. After the Alamo, the Texan army is successful, and Santa Anna is captured. To gain release, he signs a document setting the Texas-Mexico border at the Rio Grande. Others in the government in Mexico City never accept the document. This border dispute means continuous fighting. History goes on and on with stories like that, I think. In 1845, the Texans finally gained acceptance into the United States. On April 25, 1846, the very year that Iowa was becoming a state, the Mexicans send a patrol across the Rio Grande. They defeat the Americans. Little more than a week later, the bulk of the Mexican army crosses the river but is defeated in 2 battles, one of them the Battle of Palo Alto. The war continues. In February 1847, Zachary Taylor, who will soon use his Mexican War success to help gain the presidency, disobeys orders and heads south of Saltillo to Buena Vista, beautiful view, in Coahuila. Santa Anna finds him. The battle rages for 2 bloody days. On the 2nd day, the Mexican army leaves. Later that year, General Winfield Scott lands at Veracruz and heads for Mexico City. On the way, he defeats a Mexican army at Cerro Gordo and then goes on to take the capital and end the war. All 3 of those battles, Palo Alto, Buena Vista, Cerro Gordo, become names of Iowa counties. Meanwhile, in 1833, the Sauk and Fox Indians are ordered to leave what is now Iowa. By 1838, Iowa has become a territory with some 20,000 inhabitants. In 1846, Iowa becomes a state, and in 1850, a number of new counties are named by men who see themselves as expanding a new nation and expanding freedom and economic opportunity. Many of those county names come from Mexican War heroes or battles. One, of course, is the county we stand in today. Now, move across the Atlantic and back in time to Europe and the Protestant Reformation. 1517. Martin Luther nails his 95 Theses to the wall in Wittenberg. 1541. The humanist scholar and lawyer John Calvin publishes the first French version of the Institutes of the Christian Religion. Among other things, Calvin emphasizes the need for each person to repent and be forgiven through faith in Jesus Christ, and, what is important for our purposes today, to understand the implications of that faith for all of life by studying the Bible. Geneva has sided with the Reformation, and Calvin has been called back to be lead pastor of the city, a decision that made Geneva a magnet for reformers all across Europe. Later, the Scot, John Knox, takes refuge in Geneva. In 1560, he returns to Scotland and establishes the Presbyterian Church, the state church of Scotland. From the beginning, Presbyterians make learning a priority, establishing colleges and seminaries wherever they go. To this day, there are hundreds of colleges across America whose roots are in the Presbyterian Church, Princeton being only the first. Now, move to Iowa 3 centuries later. In the 1850s and 60s, there is an in-migration of men, women, and families from New England. In the 1870s, they are joined by many English and Scots. In 1870, the Dubuque and Sioux City Railroad reaches Storm Lake, very important. A year later, the population is 2,000 people, and there are 3 churches: Methodist, Presbyterian, and Baptist. Soon, western Iowa boasts 2 presbyteries or groups of Presbyterian churches, Sioux City and Fort Dodge. In 1892, the Storm Lake Presbyterians join the Congregationalists and build a new church. The pastor is the Reverend John McAllister, a Scot. In 1883, the Reverend J.C. Gilkerson, pastor of the Presbyterian Church of Calliope, now Haywarden on the Iowa-Nebraska line, starts a school. A year later, the Presbytery decides it should start a college, but doesn't think Calliope is the place. Wouldn't you like to know how Calliope got its name? I'll work on that for next time, okay? Calliope, Cherokee, and Fort Dodge enter the competition for the school. With good grounds and $10,000, Fort Dodge wins, and the Reverend F.L. Kenyon becomes president of the Fort Dodge Institute. Classes begin on September 16, 1885. Just 4 years later, there are 54 students, but the money is running out, and Kenyon is forced to resign. The The Reverend Loyal Y. Hayes, I love that name, becomes president, but he has a vision. The first in a long line from what I've heard today. He doesn't want an institute or a prep school, but rather a liberal arts college. That, of course, will take more money. The presbyteries see that the school cannot continue in any form without new facilities. Rolfe and Storm Lake enter the bidding war for the new college. The enrollment grows to 85. Fort Dodge tries to raise money, but in the end, with a gift of 8 acres, $25,000, and the blessing of both presbyteries, Storm Lake is the winner. In July 1891, the Articles of Incorporation are filed for Buena Vista College, quote, in grateful recognition of the substantial interest taken by the people of the county, end quote. Buena Vista College is one of more than 100 Presbyterian colleges founded in this era. In 1995, Buena Vista College became Buena Vista University, with 1,300 students on campus, nearly as many at more than 17 centers across the state, 35 majors, and many international programs. Now, one more trip. Travel to Germany, 1848. Revolutions occur across Europe, the first in Prussia. The Austrian emperor is replaced. Insurrections across Europe are suppressed, but Europe is changed. 20 years later, the Franco-Prussian War will result in Germany becoming a unified nation for the first time in history. Meanwhile, emigration begins. Many people leave Germany. In 1868, George Siebens, age 10, is one of those emigrants, along with his parents and 2 brothers. The family winds up in Pekin, Illinois, near Peoria. From the beginning, the Siebenses are willing to move to a new place to make a better life. In 1879, George marries another German immigrant, Caroline. The couple have a son, Walter, and move to Storm Lake. With a shotgun and $100, they buy 2 quarter sections and some lots in town, this at a time when land is gold. In 1899 and 1900, son Walter studies commerce at Buena Vista College. In 1904, he marries Nellie Dusenberry, a girl whose ancestors came over on the Mayflower. From managing a grain company, Walter turns to trading, land, surplus goods, and that puts him on the road all across the Midwest. Son Harold Walter is born about 1905. 5 years later, Walter takes a failing store in trade, not one of his best trades, and moves the family to St. Louis to manage the new business, Siebens American Sporting Goods. In the 1920s, Harold manages a store for his dad in Storm Lake, but has to go to St. Louis for surgery after an ice fishing accident. I've learned a little more about ice fishing on Storm Lake today. He returns to Storm Lake, however, and then in 1939, Walter dies, and Harold takes his family back to St. Louis to run his father's business, never to live in Storm Lake again. But the story doesn't end there. In 1948, faced by health problems and a downtrend in business, Harold sells out and takes a fishing and hunting trip to Alaska, little knowing the difference that trip will make. During his travels, Harold sees a business opportunity in Northwest Oil and opens an office in Alberta. In 1958, his son Bill, after a stint in Libya in the Air Force and a degree in petroleum engineering from the University of Oklahoma, takes over his father's leasehold in Alberta. In 1966, he sells it and, backed by his dad, starts Siebens Oil and Gas, taking it public in 1970, selling it in 1979 for $350 million. Bill marries a Canadian girl, Clarice Evans, becomes a Canadian citizen, and lives in Calgary, Alberta to this day. In 1971, Robert Seifer from Buena Vista contacts Harold to see if he would like to donate to a college building project. Seifer requests information on Walter. In 1972, Harold donates the money for the Siebens Physical Education Building, named for his parents, the first of many Siebens grants to the college. In 1980, Harold makes a donation that changes the face and the future of the college. He died in 1989. Today, we find ourselves, if my information is correct, in that physical education building, the Siebens Fieldhouse, which is joined by many other Siebens buildings and a lecture and cultural series. It all started with one family that decided to pull up stakes and move to America in 1868, and several others that did the same in 1620. Behind every building, every faculty member, every person in this place today is a story. Maybe not exactly like the Siebens story, but a powerful and important story all the same. 3 starting points, 3 stories, 1 meeting point. This place, this day, this time. To have the eyes to see and understand those stories, then, we need to be able to step out of ourselves and out of our own time. How do we do that? The British scholar and author C.S. Lewis suggests we read old books. In 1944, in an introduction to a very old book, the 4th century On the Incarnation by Athanasius, Lewis writes that every age is especially good at seeing certain truths and making certain mistakes. People in any age have more in common with each other, even when they disagree, than they do with people who came before or after. The only antidote, Lewis says, is to meet minds from another time. Though he says books of the future would do, they aren't available to us, so it is necessary to read old books. Not, of course, he says, that there is any magic about the past. People were no cleverer than they are now. They made as many mistakes as we, but not the same mistakes. In 1961, Lewis published a book called The Discarded Image about the way men and women of the Middle Ages saw the world. In it, he gives a striking example of what we can learn from old books. The medievals, Lewis pointed out, saw themselves as standing on the periphery, on the edge of the universe. And when they looked up at the night sky, they were looking in on something wonderful and incomprehensible. We moderns, he says, see ourselves quite differently. We see ourselves standing in the middle of the universe. And when we look up at the night sky, we're looking out at that which surrounds us. Today, I've given you glimpses into the minds that brought us here, minds shaped by experiences and learning we do not share. By understanding them and their blind spots, we gain perspective on our own. What do the 3 stories I've told you show us about how the people who lived them saw the world? For one, the men who fought the Mexican War saw themselves as fighting for freedom, for the right of each man and woman to make their own way in the world. They valued bravery. They remembered the fallen. For it was all in the cause of freedom and making a place to build a better life. For another, the Presbyterians who founded this college were committed to their faith and to education. People so shared the second commitment that towns went into bidding wars to win the prize of a college. For a third, the Siebens family is filled with risk-takers, people who, committed to other members of their family, didn't quit in the face of failing businesses or personal injury. All these people saw the world full of possibility, open to them, a place where hard work, faith, and sometimes a little luck lead to a better future. Part of learning to see the blind spots in our thinking, in our view of reality, is coming to understand what motivates us each day, what drives us to do the things we do. In 1944, King's College, University of London, invited Lewis again to give the annual commemoration oration. He called that speech the inner ring. His point is that there is a motive more powerful than money or sex or even ambition. It is the desire to become one of the people who run things, the in-group, the people in the know, the inner ring. Lewis says that there are 2 problems with the lure of the inner ring. First, the desire can make not very bad people do very bad things. Second, it sets a person up to expect something that can never be had. As he put it, until you conquer the fear of being an outsider you will remain. But Lewis does offer a remedy. He suggests that if we make work our end, if we strive to do the very best we can in the work we have chosen to do, we will find ourselves in the only circle in any profession that really matters, the circle of sound craftsmen and craftswomen, and other sound craftsmen and women will know it. Then he tells us there is something more. If we spend our free time with the people we like, we will find ourselves in a real inside, a place that looks like an inner ring but isn't. The difference is that the secrecy is accidental, the exclusiveness a byproduct. It is, after all, only a few people getting together to do things they enjoy. This, Lewis says, is friendship. Aristotle placed it among the virtues. It causes perhaps half the happiness in the world, and no inner ringer can ever have it. Of course, the people in our three stories knew what Lewis knew. It's clear that many of them looked around and found people who shared their dreams, and together they made them reality. I first read that essay when I was 21 years old during an interim course at Calvin College, and it changed my life. Before I married and started working with my husband, I was, as you heard, a newspaper reporter. My career in journalism began at classes at Perry High School. It was there that I found the work I love and the first friends I ever had. One of those friends, Pam Jenkins, is the research director for Hometown Perry, Iowa. Others, Bill Clark, who is here today, David Willis, Carolyn Whitaker, Carol Custer, among them, are part of the project too. It's a project in many ways based on friendship. We're all working together again to tell the story of the immigrants from all over the world who settled small-town Middle America and not only made it great, but gave a great deal to the rest of the world, and you among them continue to do so today. Our purpose is to understand and communicate the way the ideas and experiences of immigrants who settled Iowa shaped the towns they built, the state, and the world, and how their experience not only shapes our world today, but how it can help us make decisions about the challenges we face. Not only are we restoring buildings, but we are searching records and interviewing as many people as we can who remember the people and events that shaped the town of Perry, and we are looking for the people who left. For like people from every other small town in Iowa, the people who left Perry took the town with them, and what they took shaped the world. In that spirit, we are building partnerships with the city, the county, the schools and nursing homes, the State Historical Society, art museums, and Iowa State University. The immigrant story is our story. We stand in a great tradition of brave men and women, ordinary people like us. Wherever you go, whatever you do, you will take this place with you. You will stand on these shoulders. You will draw from that strength. And like the well diggers who named this county, founded this university, remembered the place where a father went to school, we are both beneficiaries and potential well diggers for people whose faces we will never see and whose names we will never know. So I close with these challenges to each of you. Look beyond the blind spots, the assumptions of your time. Make good work your aim and find true friendship. Take risks. Make your life a gift to those who come after you. Be a well digger. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, Roberta Green Ahmanson is a person who all her life has had a desire and an ability to lift those around her to new levels of living, learning, and giving. She did it as the editor of the high school newspaper in her hometown of Perry, Iowa. She did it as a college student in Michigan and a young teacher in Canada. She did it through the stories she wrote as a professional reporter in Toronto, Canada, and then for the San Bernardino Sun and the Orange County Register in Southern California. She continues to inspire and lift others now through the wide-ranging philanthropy that she and her husband, Howard Ahmanson, practiced through their Orange County-based firm, Fieldstead and Company. They have been benefactors of the arts, religious organizations, higher education, journalism, and anti-poverty programs around the world. In addition to their international initiatives, the Ahmansons have also led a renaissance in her hometown of Perry. The multi-million-dollar renovation they have completed there on the Hotel Patee has turned the 87-year-old building into the finest small hotel in the Midwest and a showcase for the finest work of Iowa artists, Buena Vista University sculptor Mac Horniker among them. The Ahmansons are now continuing their work in Perry with the conversion of the former Carnegie Public Library into a world-class museum of small-town life, present and past, seen through the prism of the immigrant experience. She comes to these projects with the grit and skill of a construction worker, the cosmopolitan view of a world traveler, the artistic sense she's gained in her patronage of some of the leading artists of our time, the social graces she's learned in friendships with some of the most sophisticated people on the planet, and yet the good humor and humility of a small-town Iowan who's done pretty well for herself. Mr. President, on behalf of the faculty, administration, and Board of Trustees of Buena Vista University, it is an honor to recommend my friend Roberta Green Ahmanson for this degree, Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Buena Vista University, I do hereby confer on you, Roberta Green Ahmanson, the degree Doctor of Humane Letters, with all the honors, privileges, and responsibility thereunto pertaining. I'd like to now introduce graduates Josh Newhouse and Danielle Staskell, co-chairs for the Storm Lake Senior Class Gift Campaign.
Since its inception in 1992, the Senior Class Gift has been an opportunity for seniors to take a final look back over our years at BVU and the wonderful opportunities we have enjoyed. The Senior Class Gift is also a chance for us to continue our relationship with BVU and to support those students who follow. On behalf of the class of 2000, Josh and I are pleased to announce that the Storm Lake graduating class has raised $6,250 in pledges to BVU. The money raised will go to various programs and projects at the university, with many commitments designated to the construction of a picnic area behind the suites, complete with grills and picnic tables for students' use.
In addition, this year, many Buena Vista University students, along with faculty and staff, have made another gift this year to a very special university friend, Neil Ball. In an effort to remind Neil how much he is loved by the BVU community and how much his presence will be missed on the Storm Lake campus, a $1,000 check to be used as traveling money was presented to Neil last week. Neil, have a great time and take lots of pictures. Thank you all for participation.
Thank you.
As the candidates for graduation come forward to receive their degrees, parents and friends are welcome to take photographs from any vantage point in front of the stage. Would the class of 2000 please stand? Mr. President, as of this day, or as of August 2000, these students have fulfilled the requirements for graduation as specified by the faculty, the administration, and the Board of Trustees, and as certified by the Registrar of Buena Vista University. They are eligible for the Master of Science in Education, the Bachelor's degree of Science, or the Bachelor's degree of Art. This 21st day of May 2000, Mr. President, it is my great pleasure to present to you the class of 2000.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Buena Vista University, I do hereby confer on you the degree of Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Arts, and Master of Science in Education, with all the honors, privileges, and responsibility thereunto pertaining.
Storm Lake, Master of Science in Education, Casey Dale Chaplin.
Lauren Dean DeYoung.
Michelle Lynn Dirks.
Jason Follett.
Constance J. Jones.
Aria Kinty.
Catherine Ann Cooker.
Terry D. Lowers.
Barbara Ann Madsen.
Mary Claire Lillis Moan.
Jan Renee Morris Mummert.
Amy Lynn Muhlenberg.
James F. Murray.
Christy Lynn Lar Peters.
Denise Renee Drugmiller Pickhinky.
Diane A. Pratt.
Amy Sue Radke.
Rick L. Ranking.
Mark J. Renning.
Cheryl Catherine Rohrbeck.
Michael Lee Schmillen.
Douglas Lee Sekas.
Julianne May Stephen.
Lisa Holthouse Valentine.
Kathy Ann Hebrink Vaughn.
Christopher J. Yaw.
Storm Lake School of Social Science, Philosophy, and Religion, Jonathan David Anderson.
Gina Marie Hemmer Arbogast.
Annette Louise Athy, cum laude.
Jessica Ann Bishop.
Jennifer J. Bowles, cum laude.
Jennifer Renee Brendel, magna cum laude.
Amanda Jean Brewer.
Jamie Lee Brower, magna cum laude.
Melissa Renee Bush.
Daniel Leslie Bush.
Carla K. Christensen.
Jackie Lynette Cook.
Eric James Dowling.
Audrey Louise Essing, cum laude.
Jamie Lynn Lampy Ferguson.
Kay Ellen Rigby Glau, magna cum laude.
Jessica Ann Gregerson.
Wendy Ann Hairide.
Heather Lorraine Hogestrat, cum laude.
Amberly Hopkins, magna cum laude.
Ryan E. Johnson, magna cum laude.
Wesley Charles Jungi, cum laude.
Charles Robert Klinkenfuss.
Christy Lane Knopfloch.
Keith Douglas Madsen.
Stacy Ann Madsen, cum laude.
Ryan Lynn Meester, cum laude.
Nikki D. Meyer.
Elizabeth Ann O'Brien.
Lisa Marie Olinger.
Holly Ann Peterson.
Amy Lynn Racine.
Michael Lee Rooks.
Laura June Wenmont Schaefer, magna cum laude.
John Robert Seal.
Stacy Marie Sloan.
Corrine S. Williams, cum laude. Storm Lake School of Education, Tracy William Adams.
Christopher Nathan Anderson.
Jessica L. Bentley.
Rhonda Joe Bernhardt.
Kristen Michelle Berryhill.
Amy Annette Bielingberg, magna cum laude.
Melissa Ann Bookoff, summa cum laude.
Dawn Marie Bonsale.
Kurt Matthew Bremer.
Jamie Lynn Brenneman.
Nathan James Burns.
Tara Lynn Christ.
Heather Dawn Dalton, cum laude.
Aaron Gregory Domanowski.
Lisa Marie Schuler Dukes, magna cum laude.
Kathleen A. Elston, summa cum laude.
J. D. Field.
Renee Lynn Frank, cum laude.
Tanya Lynn Frost.
Jason A. Furler.
Nicole Maureen Grubb.
Kelly Ann Headley.
Alicia Renee Highland.
Danielle Marie Jones.
Matthew Brian Kincaid.
Carrie Melinda King.
Aaron Michael Kratz.
Amy S. Leathers Blau, magna cum laude.
Molly Joy Letow.
Zachary William Mathers.
Jamie Jane Malsby, summa cum laude.
Amanda Louise McFarland.
Brian Robert Miller.
Matthew Ryan Nelson.
Benjamin Edward O'Brien.
Connie Jean Cohn Olson, summa cum laude.
Beth L. Pascoe.
Bradley James Pullman.
Melanie Ray Rydell, summa cum laude.
Heather K. Roberts.
Christopher Lee Rubendahl.
Troy Ralph Salazar, cum laude.
Kelly Lynn Schaefer.
Jennifer Lynn Schurman.
Laura Leanne Schrader, cum laude.
Chris Matthew Schwickereth.
Kara Lynn Spooner.
Tracia Lee Steen.
Sabrina Aaron Taps.
Lori Lynn Voss.
Zane Patrick Walsh.
Jessica Ann Wagner, magna cum laude.
Dustin Donald Williams. From the School of Communications and Arts, Michelle Anderson, cum laude.
Lisa Nicole Arterburn.
G. Michael Chrisman, magna cum laude.
Rachel Renee Eggers.
Lori Lynn Fickbaum.
Jamie G. Ford, magna cum laude.
Jeremy Michael Garrett.
Nicole Marie Halversson.
Amy Mariella Jenkins, cum laude.
Kelly Jean Jones.
Carrie Sue Keller.
Kathleen Marie Coburg.
Thomas M. Lecoq.
Misty Blue Litchfield.
Corey J. Less.
Marie Elizabeth Moeller.
Blake Ryan Petoskey.
Adrian Renee Poland, magna cum laude.
Richard M. Schweitzberger.
Mayuko Sodayama.
April Ann Stockdale, cum laude.
Molly Ann Vadnus, cum laude.
Melissa Ann Waddle.
Donald Raymond Winker.
Aaron Jean Winkler.
Michael Charles Witt.
From the Storm Lake School of Science, Michael J. Blanchard.
Benjamin T. Borkowski.
Jared David Brostad, cum laude.
Michael S. DeMars, summa cum laude.
Amy Danielle Ettram, cum laude.
Kelly Ann Erpelding.
Chad Allen Houghton.
Neil Lewis Hubert, magna cum laude.
Andrew Frederick Kruger.
Corey Wayne Langner.
Jason Paul Lynch.
Keely Marie Mulford.
Michael L. Negg.
Carrie Lynn Newsom.
Charles Kurt Plath.
Anthony Maury Royster.
Nathan E. Sampson.
Lucas John Schroeder, magna cum laude.
Ted David Schwendeman.
Matthew Walter Simons.
Danielle Faye Staskell, magna cum laude.
Dean Francis Wolf, summa cum laude.
Christopher Charles Zimmerman. The Storm Lake Harold Walter Sieben School of Business, Christina Lynn Erd Deutschlander, magna cum laude.
Wade Scott Anderson, summa cum laude.
Zachary P. Banstra.
Leanne Elaine Beck, magna cum laude.
Bradley James Barons, magna cum laude.
Tammy Marie Helber Brook, summa cum laude.
Darren Patrick Butel.
Rebecca Ann Busey.
Chris E. Carlson, cum laude.
Corey Charles Chetka.
Felicia.
Joshua Michael Cole.
Sarah Elizabeth Irene Covington.
Mukti Desai.
Melinda Ray Donor.
Brian Francis Dre.
Stephen Mark Eady.
Melissa K. Herbs, magna cum laude.
Douglas William Erdman.
Chad N. Fank.
Adam Michael Fast.
Brian Scott Fisher.
Melissa Aaron Gherkin, magna cum laude.
Darren J. Graebner.
Corey Michael Groh.
Nathan Kent Haggard.
Carol Lynn Mason Hansen, cum laude.
Tracy Ann Hausman, summa cum laude.
Marta K. Headland.
Christopher Michael Henrich, magna cum laude.
Amber Cherie Hinkledy.
Paul Joseph Hoy.
Wendy Marie Hugh.
John Stephen Ivanovich.
Sarah Rebecca Jacobson, cum laude.
Eric Wayne Johnson.
Richard Dean Johnson.
David Gordon Jones.
Kyle Ebert Kemper.
Darla Marie Keenest, cum laude.
David Keith Laughlin, cum laude.
Jose Feliz Lopez.
Sarah Lynn Luring, magna cum laude.
Daniel L. Mondernock, magna cum laude.
Ryan Scott McCauley.
Jennifer Lynn Meester, magna cum laude.
Taryn Patrick Minders, magna cum laude.
Bradley David Meyer.
Stephanie K. Milley.
Kellyanne Moritz, magna cum laude.
Tony John Muehlbauer, cum laude.
Nick Aaron Novanko.
Catherine Jeanette Kluver Neumann.
Joshua Allen Newhouse.
Jason Neil Neihart Steffen.
Timothy Daniel O'Meara.
Michael Paul Pamulak.
Lee Christopher Patton.
Anne Elizabeth Peters, magna cum laude.
Tammy J. Peterson.
Matthew Dean Phillips.
Ryan James Rasmussen.
Angela Elizabeth Raveling.
Landon Reed Roth, summa cum laude.
Gretchen Marie Schlater.
Anne Marie Shepner.
Deanna Lynn Schuler, cum laude.
Carrie Ann Schultes, magna cum laude.
Amy Beth Sickerson.
Heath Carl Statler.
John Alistair Sutherland.
Joshua John Toit.
Heath R. Tady.
Megan Jean T.G.
Emily Beth Chernagle, summa cum laude.
Robert James Volp.
Jennifer Lynn Wiedemeyer, summa cum laude.
Joseph William Whitrock, magna cum laude.
From our Fort Dodge Center, School of Social Science, Philosophy, and Religion, Jody Lee Butterworth, cum laude.
Angela Dilly.
Brian Robinson Dugan.
Mary Beth Hayes, magna cum laude.
Sarah E. Gansenfeld.
Troy A. Nelson.
Amber Lorraine Peterson.
Joni Ann Traeger.
Our Fort Dodge Center School of Education, Justin Lee Clutter.
Tracy A. Crimmins.
Joshua David Culberson.
Diane L. Culbertson Lucas.
Jane Marie Schwarzendruber Marquardt.
Michael Lee Pavick Jr.
Megan Ann Waters. The Fort Dodge Center School of Business, Barbara J. Warnke Gorszewski, cum laude.
Craig Emmett Graves.
Amy Jean McAllister, cum laude.
Sarah Christine Zinell.
From our Lakes and Prairie Center, the School of Social Science, Philosophy, and Religion, Terry L. Barney, cum laude.
Diane J. Silkwood Bergstrom.
Susan Ann Blair.
Adrian L. Burlington.
Shauna Lee Nolan Ditzworth.
Amy Janine Anderson Deuce.
Patricia J. Eaton.
Tammy Ann Nelson Errett.
Erin Michelle Elser.
Heather Marie Larson.
Glenda L. Lenz.
Kent Michael Magnuson.
Tracy Michelle Bartley Mogan.
Michael Allen Rader.
Angela Marie Roos, summa cum laude.
Tom J. Sable.
Nancy Frida Taylor, cum laude.
Katie Lisa Halverson Thorne.
Cassandra Althea Turner, magna cum laude.
Anthony D. Whitrock.
Tammy Jo White Zemler. Our Lakes and Prairie Center School of Education, Amy Lee Anderson.
Brenda Marie Deal, cum laude.
Christy Lynn Jansen Depew.
Carol J. Chevalier Fila, magna cum laude.
Pamela Kathleen Stone Hansen, magna cum laude.
Kimberly Jo Harkin, cum laude.
Kelly Jo Harper, cum laude.
Johnny Sherry Thumbling Hurley, cum laude.
Tammy Jean Studer Jensen.
Pamela K. Leopard McInnes.
Jason Edward Munn.
Linda A. Steele Nepal.
Laura Lynn Nothi.
Robin Renna Parkhurst.
Lisa A. Schultz, summa cum laude.
Billy Joe Smith Varpinus.
Brian Robert Williams, cum laude. Our Lakes and Prairie Center School of Communication and Arts, Lynn C. Gould. From our Lakes and Prairie Center School of Science, Jeff D. Wyatt. From our Lakes and Prairie Center School of Business, Janice L. Morrison Bacallier.
Shannon Lee Wilson Brown, cum laude.
Nicole Lynn Busher, magna cum laude.
Rebecca K. Ebel.